Thank you so much, and good evening, everyone. As we are getting ready to get started, we will start by actually throwing in a video of some of the great people that have gone so well in our community, and they have created path for all of us to tread on and follow, and we'll have to honor them and respect them. For the meantime, before we are joined by most of our guests this afternoon, so let's just have a quick preview of what our previous leaders has done to help us be a better people. If you don't mind, Ms. Serena, you can now. Let's share that together. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Ms. Serena. While we are still waiting for other people to come up, I think For the meantime, Ms. Sarah Malika, you are absolutely welcome this afternoon, but I don't really want you to give your introduction of yourself yet until we'll get some of the people that we're expecting to be here. Of course, we do know that even if we're home, some people are still staying at home and still working from home. So they have to find that time to get out of that work thing and just get back in this. So while we are waiting for a few minutes, just without introduction of yourself, I'm just going to ask you that what's been going on and what can you just tell us briefly based on the situation and under the circumstances of this coronavirus, what's going on with the Census initiative for the 2020? What's going on so far?
Yeah, so hello, Dr. Prince Adekoya. Thank you so much for having me here this evening, to speaking with you, and for the opportunity to be here with you. The census, as you know, we're in a particularly difficult time for many people, and we are social distancing. So the Census Bureau has suspended all field operations as of April, or as of March. So we are suspended right now, but the census is still going on. So people can still reply to the census, you know, online, by phone, and by mail. And of course, you know, we are following the situation very closely. We have a COVID-19 team, a task force within the U.S. Census Bureau that is monitoring the situation. And so we are following all the federal, state, and local health authorities to make sure that, you know, we are doing everything we can to make sure that everybody's safe and to make sure that census employees are safe during this time. So we are not out in the field. That usually we're out in the field, we're out in the community doing work. So right now we're not able to do those field operations. They're suspended, but we look forward to resuming those as soon as we can.
That will be great. That will be great. I think we all understand the situation. We know how it is, but no matter what the situation is right now, we still have to do what we have to do to get this on for this great opportunity to educate, inform our people about the importance of being a partaker of the census. Despite what we are going through in regards to the COVID-19, definitely we're not going to let that hold us down, because I don't think the government intend to postpone the census at all. Or is that you guys' intention? Do you guys intend to postpone this year counting, or is it still going to go forward?
Well, by law, we have to finish the census by December 31st, 2020. We have to deliver those counts. But because of what's going on right now, we have asked Congress for a 120-day extension. But we're still committed. We still have to count everyone, and we're still committed to a complete and accurate count of the U.S. population.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Antoniesian. Thank you. As I was saying before, you guys are still waiting. From your last statement, you say you're still waiting for the Congress to see if they're going to do some kind of extension, if they're going to allow you guys more time to deliver on the count or something like that. But up to this date, there is no, up to this moment, there is no affirmative action on that yet. Am I correct?
Not yet. So the U.S. Census Bureau has made a request for a 120-day extension from Congress. But because of the legal issues, you know, we have to make sure, we don't know yet what they're going to decide, but there is bipartisan support to extend the date. So we're hoping that we can extend the date so we can finish our job.
Okay. That would be great. Hopefully that happens, and then we are able to, get more time so that this will be done effectively. Because if it's not properly done, we're going to be losing out on a lot of things, and that's not the intention at this time. I think the intention of the government is to have accurate count, if I'm correct. But because of this COVID-19, hopefully things will move at the pace that we're expecting it to be, because this is our chance now. Otherwise, that's another next 10 years. Am I correct? So
absolutely, yeah. This is our one
so,
chance to get it right for the next.
to get it
10
right.
years. Yep.
Beautiful. Okay, we're going to get started as people are joining in now. Currently, we have almost 10 people on the call, and we're going to get started because we can move on and see how we can deliver on what we intend to do this afternoon. So good afternoon to you, Reverend Cleveland Polai. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you coming on. So at this time, I will officially say we are going to start the program, but we're going to start this program by a very strong message from one of our own, and a woman of substance that we really admire and respect her leadership. She's a very strong supporter for the diaspora in terms of being recognized and moving forward, and most importantly, prosperity for all the black people, African in particular. So we would like to hear from her at this point in time. She will be joining us later on this call. She's on another assignment right now, but we will be sending her message across while we continue with this. So at this time, we're going to be presenting Our Excellency, Dr. Arikana Chiambori. She is the former AU ambassador to United States, and she's been doing phenomenal work within the African community, and she continues to be a champion and a mighty voice in the diaspora. And this is something that she takes to heart. She really believes in the census because we all know the importance of this, and that's what we're going to get down to in a few minutes. So at this point in time, let us hear from Our Excellency Ambassador Arikana Chiambori.
As you know, 2020 is a census year. The US runs census once every 10 years. This is our time to stand up and be counted. It's so important that we come together and be counted. Why? The US government gives funds to communities based on that population, particularly the diaspora community. There are also funds allocated to the diaspora communities based on our population in those communities. The fewer the numbers, the less funds that are going to be allocated to our communities. This has nothing to do with your immigration status. Homeland Security is not going to get this data. This is strictly trying to find out who is in the United States. And those funds are allocated according to the populations in whatever neighborhood you reside in. So when you do not fill the census form, you are actually doing yourself a serious disfavor. There are enough of us who are living in this beautiful country, contributing our sweat and blood. So when it comes to those services that are due to us, it is important that we stand up and be counted. I would hope that all of you can take some time. Your Census Bureau people are going to be coming around. If they don't come around, find out where you can go to fill out your form. It is very, very important that we participate in this year's census. Like we would say in Nigeria, I beg you all, please, you need to fill out the forms. Be part of the census, stand up and be counted, and please, answer the call from our president, President Trump. He wants you to stand up and be counted. Let's do it, my fellow African diaspora. By not filling out the form, you're not only letting yourself down, you're also letting down your children, your community, and the African diaspora community at large. It is so important that we all come together and stand up and be counted. Why? Because you count.
Thank you so much to Our Excellency Arikana Chiambori, the former AU ambassador to United States. It couldn't be any clearer than that. This is somebody that is very passionate about African moving forward, the prosperity of Africa, the unity of Africa, the collaboration of Africa, and the advancement and peace of Africa. This is what she stands for, and this is what she advocates every day. So if she can come up and say to us as a diaspora, as African, that we should come together and be counted, that's the only way that we can be recognized as people. That's the only way. What the government knows, it's numbers. If your numbers don't add up, they don't know you, they don't see you, and you're not getting anything. So it's time for us to come together and make this work, and work together to make sure that the African community gets what they deserve. If we don't get what we deserve, our fair share, is simply because we choose not to be part of the people that are getting their fair share. Other people are getting their fair share and we are not getting ours. I think it's in our best interest to do so and get our fair share so that we will be happy. So let's take, while I'm going to welcome on call on this conference now, thank you so much for joining us. Our strong community leader, I will use this opportunity to just say welcome to my dear brother, Professor Dr. Kyle Kafani, from actually is the professor at Essex County College, a very wonderful brother, a very strong brother that is a Pan-Africanist, and also the Pan-African ambassador to the Oni of Ife, doing wonderful things. As a matter of fact, I can't wait until I see that great man in the Congress. So I'm wishing him the best of luck and hoping that he will, you know, do well and be there to represent us. So before we now go into further things, let's just throw in, let's hear from, we know that we're dealing with COVID-19 right now. So let's just see something come up for us for 1 few minutes before we hear from one of our other brothers, then we continue. Ms. Serena, please. So what we're going to do after this message, we are going to listen, after the message we are playing right now, we're then going to listen first to one of our brothers that's got a message to give us. That's Dr. Kafani. After this, when we finish the message, I will give you the cue, Dr. Kafani, to speak to us because I know you have to be somewhere in the next 5 to 10 minutes. But let's just hear this quick message. Go ahead, Ms. Rainer.
Despite the situation that we all find ourselves in, we can also tap into the corona relief options that's made available to us through our XBA. Thanks to the government for all the effort. Of course, some people receive the stimulus grant, which they can use to help their family for the meantime. But for those of us who are in businesses and don't want our business to die and fold, we can also look into tapping into the relief options that are available to us. First of all, you can think about the Paycheck Protection Plan, the PPP, which is available to medium-sized business with employees and stuff of that nature. You can look into the SBA debt relief, which is a very good opportunity for us, even if you borrow the money for now, and you can still, you know, be forgiven if you meet the criteria. And most important, the EIDL loan, which is the disaster relief loan. That's very important for every one of us that had small businesses. So you can take advantage of this loan, which can easily be forgotten down the road or be forgiven if you meet the criteria as well. If you have a problem having this done by yourself, please reach out to our office and we'll be glad to help you. Let's continue to observe all that has been put out there. Wash your hand, wear your mask, stay at home, do something positive with yourself so that you emerge a champion. And above all, be closer to God than ever. Prayers of the saints availeth much. Let's continue to uplift each other.
Okay. Ms. Serena, let's go to the next one. And after that, after the next 1 minute, then Dr. Kalfani can come in. Ms. Serena, give us that video.
Hi, my name is Dr. Nelson Aluya, and I'm the president of NAPAC USA, and that is the Nigerian American Public Affairs Committee USA. And this is the NAPAC USA message on US 2020 Census. You can shape your future and the community you represent by getting counted. Anybody in the United States and its 5 territories can be counted. And you can do this by any individual in your household who is age 50 and above that has general knowledge of the individuals in that house by April 1st, 2020. You can do this by going online to fill out those questions, or you can submit by mail or by telephone. Now, to the Nigerian American community in the United States, it has become more important than any time in the history of our existence in this country to get counted. Because we must learn to understand the implications, values, and the reasons why the US Census takes place every 10 years. Now, this will help us to advance the cause of our agenda in this country and sustain what we've built over decades in this country. Now, you can learn more about the census by going to napacusa.com.org or the uscensus.org. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You guys also have heard from one of our strong community advocates, our leaders, our very good friends, a very wonderful man that is doing tremendous work in the community, our own Dr. Nelson Aluya, talk about the importance of this Census 2020. It's not a time for joke. If we want to be a force to be reckoned with, if we want to be the people to be respected, if we want to get our fair share of community development, schools and hospitals and all other necessary things that we need in the African community, we definitely should be involved in this census so that we will be counted and we can benefit what should be earmarked to us. At this point in time, I will welcome once again our dear, before I welcome our dear brother, I will quickly say our host for today. She has been waiting patiently, and whatever question you have, she is willing to answer your question. And she's been waiting patiently for this, but I will let our dear brother, Professor Kafani, come in and talk to us about Census 2020, the importance, most especially for somebody like him that is nursing the ambition of representing us in the Congress. By the special grace of God, I know he will do a tremendous job. So this is part of his job. Anyway, he's not there yet, but at least this is his job until he gets there. So what he's going to be telling us tonight, I think is going to be very important for us to have an understanding of the kind of person that he is and the kind of leader that it is and what he's going to bring into that Congress or White House. So it's our prayer that as we're able to relate with him now, by the time he gets there, we will be able to relate with him like that. So right now, I welcome to the platform Professor Dr. Akil Kafani. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening to you and all of the viewers out there. Thank you for the time, and I'm glad to spend some of this time with you. You know, yes, I am running for U.S. Congress in New Jersey for the 10th Congressional District. But I did want to say that I'm also a sociologist by training, a professor of sociology. And I in fact worked on the 2000 census when there was a lot of questions about multiracial categories. That was the beginning of the multiracial category development in 2000. And so I just want to say with regard to the census, it's extremely important. I also studied demography, population studies that is, and it's extremely important for people to be counted, for us to have a sense of what the population looks like, even though we know that we don't always get it 100% accurate. So that's why we do something called a count. We adjust for the undercount, and that's a survey, a smaller survey that goes out to see what the population is. But the best way to do it is, because in the past we haven't been able to use that data for determining how much money goes out. That's really been more of a statistical analysis for statisticians and for healthcare workers and things of that nature. But in terms of Congress divvying up money, it hasn't really manifested that way. So we want to make sure that everyone is counted. If there's any way we can help to count people, you know, Professor Dr. Prince mentioned helping with your family members, but even your friends and neighbors, encourage them to complete their census form. It's really easy now. You can simply go to the census website, or they send forms to you in the mail. and you can complete those. They only send the forms in the mail if they didn't get something from you online, but take your time and go and look at it and fill those things out. The form is really simple to do, and I think that your community will benefit from the process in the long run. And so I want to wish you all well here, and that everybody does their part to contribute. I, on my part, as someone who's running for Congress, will make sure that when I'm elected, that we will look to bring the information from the census more holistically into finding other modalities to make sure that everybody is counted and that we can use that data in a successful way. But we will need your help to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Akil Kafani, for that explanation. We are wishing you success. We're looking forward to you getting up to that platform of the Congress where you can advocate for us, where you can speak on behalf of those of us that are voiceless, most especially our immigrant community that really don't want to come out. So one of the most important things that we're going to be doing tonight is for us to educate those people, whether you're documented or undocumented. It's not, the census got nothing to do with that. They're not using all those information. Your census information is not handed over to the Immigration or Department of Homeland Security. So there is nothing to worry about. We're just talking about head count, who is here and who is not here. So because of these numbers, how many schools should we have in this community? How many hospitals should be built? How much money should be earmarked to this place? How many council members or whatever, these things matter. So that's why we have to come out and be counted. Thank you so much, Dr. Kafani. I know that you will be running soon because I know you have another meeting coming up. We really appreciate your time. Thanks for being with us. If you still have more time, stay with us. But if not, we thank you for coming up and we really appreciate you. And definitely, we wish you best of luck in your aspiration for the Congress. We will support you, we will work with you, and we will make sure by the special grace of God that you get there. But when you get there, don't forget us and don't forget your constituency, sir.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So while, before I transfer the platform or the podium to Ms. Sarah Malaika from the Census Bureau to educate us about the census, I would like to acknowledge a few people that are on this call. I think I would like to acknowledge our good friends, Reverend Cleveland Polite. Thank you for joining us. Dear brother, Mr. Anthony Asian, thank you for joining us. And I know somewhere, somehow that former Deputy Mayor, our own former Deputy Mayor, Ugo Wokoro, is also on this call. We're gonna be hearing from him also shortly. But after that will be after we hear a little bit from Ms. Sarah Malaika from the Census Bureau. We're going to hear from our dear brother, Honorable Ugochukwu Wokoro, to educate us about this and what he has to tell us about this. And we also acknowledge our dear brother who is also on the call, Dr. Nelson Aluya. Thank you for the great work that you're doing in the community. And also to our dear sister, beautiful sister out there. Thank you so much for joining us. Ms. Olayemi Agbaje, really appreciate you. Thank you so much. So at this point in time, I'm going to turn the microphone over to our host that is going to educate us really about this census. And if we ask her, we should be preparing our census because our questions, because she's here to answer all the questions and also all the employment opportunity that is available at this time. She will be able to brief us on that. But I will tell you one thing, if you're listening well. And if you have family and friends out there that are interested, Census Bureau will pay you over $25 to work for them. That's something that you can think about. So we'll hear from Ms. Sarah Malaika. Thank you. So over to you, Ms. Sarah Malaika. Thank you so much for coming and thank you for your patience and thank you for this opportunity to educate our community. My Bible tells me that our people perish for lack of knowledge. All we are trying to do is to educate ourselves, our neighbors, our community, about our civic responsibility. That's what we're doing tonight, so that they all know what is right and what is not, and how we can help ourselves get better. And one thing that I do know for sure, they told me this when I was younger, that when you want to lust or kill an African man, put it in writing, because we won't read it. That's what they said. So thank God for social media. Instead of you now reading the books, somebody is there to break it down to you, to your understanding. So I give kudos to our celebrities, our artists, because that's how they get message around. But this time around, the message is really diluted. It wasn't raw like it used to be, where you get a real message from music. Now it's something else. But thank God for social media. So please help me welcome our dear sister, Sarah Malika from the Census Bureau. Thank you. Good evening to you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Prince Adekoya, for inviting me to speak today and to be here with all of you to share this information about the 2020 census. I'm going to be sharing my screen. I have some images to show everyone. So I will go ahead and do that now. And please let me know that if you can see the slide of my presentation. Can you see that? Just want to make sure.
Yes, I can see it. We can see it.
Okay, great. So thank you everyone for joining us this evening. I have a very short presentation to share with you, and then I'm happy to take any questions after the session. So based on previous surveys, we have a general idea of how many African people there are in different states. And this is, these numbers are based on the previous census, as well as what we call the American Community Survey, which is happening all the time, every month, every year. So upcoming, we have the 2020 census, and it's very important to know what the 2020 census is and what we're going to be doing, because there's also a potential at this time for people, unfortunately, to do scams and fraud. So I want to make sure everyone understands that anybody who works for the Census Bureau will have a Census Bureau ID. And if they are an enumerator, or people who work out in the field, out in the community, out in your neighborhood, they will have a badge that says U.S. Census Bureau on it. So please don't give your information to anyone just who says that they work for the Census Bureau. Please ask to see their credentials. But if you do your survey, there are other ways to do your survey, and then you won't, either by phone or online, and then you don't have to actually talk to anybody. So I'm going to describe all of that. So the goal of the 2020 census is to count everyone once, only once, and in the right place. And when I say in the right place, I mean where people live. So it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter where you work. We are counting people where they live. And we do this because it's mandated in the US Constitution. So it's basically on the front page, the second paragraph of the US Constitution says that we have to do a census to know where people are, because our government is supposed to represent the people. So we do this census for the two big reasons: is for representation, our representation in government and in Washington, D.C., and for funding. And the most important thing I want you to remember from today's presentation is that the census is safe, easy, and important. So I'll go through each of those things: safe, easy, and important. It's important because the census determines all our legislative districts. That means how the government defines areas. It's how many people represent our state in the House of Representatives. Sometimes the votes, they're voting on laws, and it comes down to a few votes. So the more votes we can have, the more votes that New York and New Jersey and Connecticut can have, the more our voices are heard in the government. The census also determines school districts and voting districts. And most importantly, it determines the annual allocation of $675 billion in federal funding. So this is billions and billions of dollars every single year that is going towards federally funded programs such as Medicare and Medicaid, health insurance, schools, after school programs, housing, programs for seniors, all kinds of programs that people rely on. Many families rely on these programs, and each one of us have used these programs at one point or another. You know, we all walk down the sidewalk. We all, you know, go to the park. We turn on the tap water. So there's a lot of government services that are really essential that we all use every day. And we want to make sure that the funding that each area gets is related to the population count. So that's why it's so important to get a complete and accurate count for the 2020 census. Participating in the census is safe. Let me be very clear about this. The Census Bureau will never, ever share your personal information with anyone. We will be gathering information and producing statistics. Those statistics are general numbers. We'll be able to say this many people live in this area, this many people live in this county or this city, but the Census Bureau will never, ever share your personal information and will never release your private information. Even though we're a government agency, by law, we cannot share your information with any other government agency. That includes ICE, immigration, the IRS, FBI. Nobody can find out what you put on the census. It is private and confidential. And all Census Bureau employees take an oath for life. We make sure on our first day of the job, we take an oath to protect confidentiality for life. And this law, the Title 13 law, is the strongest privacy protections in the US legal code. So it's very important. We all take an oath to protect that. So participating in the census is safe for everyone. And responding to the census is easy. There are many ways to respond. You can do it online at 2020census.gov. You can do it by phone, or you can do it by paper. Everyone should have received a survey in the mail by now. So you can fill out that survey by paper and send it back. Now, I always say that it's very important to know what's going to be on the census, what we're going to be asking, and what we will never, ever ask for, so that nobody in our community falls prey to any potential scams. So we are going to be asking on the census for every person in your household. We need the name, age, date of birth, and ethnic background of every individual in the household. We will never, ever ask for your social security number. We will never ask for money or donations or anything on behalf of a political party. And we will never ask for your bank or credit card details. In addition, we are not asking on the census about your immigration status. It doesn't matter. The law is very clear. It says that we have to count all residents of the United States. So we are not asking if you're a citizen. We are not asking if you have a green card. It doesn't matter. We count everybody who's living in the United States. Now, on this screen, you see a sample form. That's the paper survey. That's what the paper survey looks like. And I just want to mention, I can't tell anyone how to fill out the survey, how to describe themselves in terms of their ethnic or racial background. But I just want to encourage you to fill that part out. Don't leave it blank. And as you can see, there's a write-in box under each category. So for example, if you click the box that check the category that says Black or African American, then you can write underneath it something else that's more specific. So for example, you can write in Nigerian, you can write in Ghanaian, you can write in Ethiopian. And so I encourage everyone to be as specific as possible and to, be proud of where you're from. If you're from a country, please write it in, because those numbers matter. The more number of people, the more resources the government will know to bring to that community. And I'll share an example of that a little bit later in the presentation from the 2010 census of a community that really came out and they got some more social services as a result of those numbers. So I wanted to let you know that we have a robust language support program. So in addition to English, people can fill out the census either online or by phone in these 12 additional languages. So if you know somebody from Cote d'Ivoire, for example, who would rather fill out the survey in French, please let them know. Please look out for your neighbors and your friends and your coworkers. If you know someone who might need some language support, please reach out and let them know that they can fill out the survey in other languages. These 13 languages represent over 99% of US households. So again, we really want to make sure that everyone fills it out and that everyone has the opportunity to fill it out so we can get a complete and accurate count. These are the phone numbers to call in. So for English, it's 844-330-2020. So you can call this number to fill out the survey. Somebody will be on the phone and will ask you the questions and you can respond for everyone in your household. So again, it doesn't take very long. It takes less than 10 minutes. And there's, again, multiple ways to fill out the census, so you can pick which way is the best for you and your household. In addition to the 13 languages that you can do the census in, we have information in 59 languages total. So we have language guides that are printed, as well as video guides on YouTube. So if you know someone who would like to know more information about the census, please let them know that we have these language guides available. You can send it to them. We have them on our website, or you can find them on YouTube. In terms of African languages, we have language guides in Twi, in Amharic, Somali, Arabic, French, Swahili, and Yoruba. I think that's all of them, or in Igbo as well. So we have a number of different African languages available. So if you know someone who might need language support, please get this information to them so that they can understand what's happening and so that they feel comfortable filling out the census. So here's a quick timeline of how the census is going to work. So on March 12th was when we started sending out the invitations to respond to the census. So we sent that through the mail through the US Postal Service. There was a reminder letter and a reminder postcard sent out. And if we didn't hear from a household, either by phone or online, they were sent a paper questionnaire in April. So by now, it's May 1st now. So by now, most households would have, if we didn't hear from them, would have received their paper questionnaire in the mail. If you haven't received it, please check your mailbox. So initially, after April, we were going to have non-response follow-up. That means if we didn't hear from somebody, we'll go knocking at their door. But now, due to COVID-19, we have had to make some operational adjustments. So the new schedule that's been proposed is that non-response follow-up will begin on August 11th. So that means people can fill it out now. If we don't hear from a household, then on August 11th, we will begin going door to door and knocking on doors to make sure that we get a response from every single household in the US. So I briefly wanted to mention that we are hiring at the Census Bureau. If you would like to apply for a census job, you can do so at 2020census.gov/jobs. And in the qualifications to apply is you have to be 18 years and older. You have to have work authorization in the US. And you have to have an email address because the application is online. And we have both part-time and full-time positions available. So when you fill out your application online, it'll ask you how many hours a week you have available to work and what days you're available. And I know a lot of people have been furloughed right now or they've lost their jobs. So having a census job, even though it's temporary, it's a great opportunity to make a little bit of extra income. And the pay rate depends on which area that you're living in, but they are, good pay, competitive pay per hour. For New York City, the pay starts at $28 an hour. For other states, like New Jersey and Connecticut, it's a little bit less than that. but they are good opportunities, and I encourage everyone to apply online at 2020census.gov/jobs. So there's two ways that you can help with the census. You can start sharing that message that the census is safe, easy, and important, and to tell people about the census jobs. Because I can tell people, people can hear it on TV or on the radio, they can see, 2020 census ads, but we have found that when people hear the census message from a trusted voice, somebody in the community that they know and trust, that makes all the difference. So we want to encourage our neighbors, our friends, our family to fill out the census. And this benefits all of us. So, if somebody has kids in school, the census makes sure that their kids have the right resources at school. The census helps our hospitals, our roads, and all the social services. So again, it's very important that we reach out to our friends, our neighbors, our coworkers, and just say, hey, did you fill out the census? It's very important for our community and it benefits us all. We have a lot of resources on our website at 2020census.gov. So if you would like to see videos or PDFs, if you want something to share on social media, you can find a lot of resources online, and you can share that through WhatsApp, through Instagram, through Facebook. And we encourage you to take a look and see what kinds of materials we have, and so that you can share that with your members, your friends, and your family. And lastly, I wanted to show you that we are, the census is live now, so you can see the self-response map. Every day this gets updated. So basically, the US in total, we have about 54% of the US population. So more than half of US households have now responded to the census. But unfortunately, in some areas, we're a bit less than that. So for example, in New York City, we're only at 43%. And then I also took a look at New Jersey. Here in Newark, as of today, the response rate is 37.6%. So as you can see, we still have a lot of work to do to make sure that we get a response from every single household, to make sure that all the resources that we have that are for our community come to our community, because we have that accurate population count. And I just wanted to show you this example from the 2010 census. In the 2010 census, the Bengali-speaking community, people from Bangladesh, they rallied in their neighborhoods, in their mosques, in their schools, in their community centers, and they did a big push to make sure that all people from Bangladesh were counted on the census. What happened was that their numbers went up so much, their numbers went up 40%. And now, because of those numbers, because we have a more accurate count of the Bengali-speaking community, they now have resources allocated to them. And if you go to some government websites, there's information in Bengali. You can vote in Bengali. If you go to a government office, they have to provide translation in Bengali language. So the census does matter, and it's about getting our fair share of resources. So if you count yourself, and you make sure your neighbors count and your families count, then more resources can come to our communities. It's very important. Lastly, I just wanted to let you know that the US Census Bureau is on social media. So if you'd like to follow us, I encourage you to do that. And you can easily share our messages with your friends, with your family, and you can see what's happening. Every week we have different updates about what's happening with the census. So if you'd like to stay informed, please follow us on social media, and you can stay updated to all that's happening with the census. And that's it for my presentation. This is how you can contact us, but I'm here and available for the rest of this evening. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take anyone's questions.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Sarah Malika. You have actually engaged all of us, and you have laid down the way it is. And I'm sure that most of us that are on this conference call is very well informed about what being part of the census, part of the count, what that really means, the importance of being counted in our community, the benefits, and all that goes with being counted in our community. You have explained all that to us, and we quite understand what you have explained. And moreover, the employment opportunity at this difficult time is something that is also important in our community, most especially when you are saying that all is required from whoever wants to work for the Census Bureau is just your work authorization and have accessible email address, if I hear you right. So I think most people who are here, of course, we do have undocumented in our community that don't have probably work authorization, but most people do have work authorization that will enable them to apply for the job. And that's got nothing to do with whether you're a green card holder or citizen or this and that and that. As far as you have your work authorization, you should be fine to do it. So I think that's a very good information for us. So at this point in time, I will also like at this time acknowledge some of our great people that are on this call tonight that are listening to you so that they can take this information back to their community. The people that are on this call specifically are the community leaders, are the people that are driving the community and working day and night to make sure that the community are fed with adequate information for us to be better and for us to be able to get what the government's got in stock for us if we meet the quota. So I would like to welcome, before I know you requested if there's any question for you at this time, but before we go into that question and answer, I would like to yield to our Honorable Deputy Mayor Ugochukwu Nwokoro, if he's on this call, to please speak to this in the sense that that's the first African, continental African to be deputy mayor in the United States. And during his time, we know all that he did. Despite that, he's not the overall boss of the city. He's still subject to somebody, and he's still, reporting to someone. So the whole African community shouldn't expect to get all that they wanted from him. But I can tell you for sure that he did his best. He served us well, and we're looking forward to producing more of Ugochukwu Nwokoro to help liberate the African community. Honorable Deputy Mayor Ugochukwu Nwokoro, if you're on the call, please join us and let's hear from you, sir.
Good evening, Prince Adekoya. Thank you very much for putting this together. You and your team. It is an honor of mine to be here, and I thank Ms. Sarah from Census 2020 for eloquently putting it together, or putting a presentation that said it all. So, folks, I think my job is easy here. The previous speakers have all said it, outlined it. Excellency Arikana Chihombori, Dr. Nelson Aluya, they've all said it. But I just want to add a few things. One of them is about your civic duty, of course, to participate in the Census 2020. When you participate, it helps to guard against gerrymandering. Gerrymandering means they don't put you in a zone where your people are not, or because you have not, your number is not right. So they can use that for electioneering purposes that will not benefit you. So if you think not doing the census is not serious, it affects even how many bus stops that you have in your city. How many, they talked about schools, they talked about hospitals, and Ms. Sarah also talked about Africans and our attitude. Our population, has grown tremendously. By my calculation, and no, not my calculation, as a matter of fact, by the data that is out there, there are about 10 million Africans that are out there, excluding the children that we have in the United States. So if we can, do the census, fill out the forms, register completely the number of Africans that are here. Do not be afraid. Immigration is not coming after you. Homeland Security is not coming after you if you are undocumented. All they want are they don't want your social security number, they don't want anything but the names and the number of people that are in your household. It will help you a lot, because that is how you get the money for the resources that you want. They've said that. I don't want to keep reiterating that. The organization that I head now, the African Diaspora for Good Governance, is preaching that. We are preaching heavily on the census. So, and we also canvassing and preaching for Africans to register, do your civic duty. Not just should you participate in the census, also register to vote. Because if you vote, you will have to begin to affect policies that concerns Africans, the diaspora, Africa, who becomes our leader, So African Diaspora for Good Governance, in a few days, we'll be making endorsement for presidential candidate. So listen to that. The website will be up and running soon, and it's adgg.org. Go to adgg.org. You're going to get all the information. And I appeal to all Africans here to identify yourself by becoming a member of the African Diaspora for Good Governance. So folks, please get your people wherever they may be. Do not be afraid. Do not be scared that if you add the name of somebody that is in your household that is undocumented, that, oh, immigration is going to come after them. No. It's actually going to help them, because they're going to get resources that's going to help to take care of your community. So on that note, folks, thank you very much. And Prince Adekoya, thank you for inviting me.
Mute myself. Thank you so much, our Honorable Deputy Mayor. We really appreciate you for taking the time to come out this evening to talk to us about the importance of being part of the census. It is very important. One thing that we don't do in African community is being part of the developments and the success of the community we live in. Even if we are a contributing factor and block in this community, we don't come out because of one thing or the other. For some people, it's their work schedule, and for other people, it's just that, the I don't care, the nonchalant attitude, So like our Excellency Arikana said, I beg you, you should come out and be counted, so that will increase the resources that is allocated to your community. So we thank you.
Please, can I add something real quick?
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, you said something about a block, and that reminds me also that for the very first time in the history of this country, that Africans are coming together.
Amen.
To let their votes count as a voting block.
Right.
So like I said earlier, we are 10 million strong, and this is excluding the children that we have here. So if we vote as a block, we're going to make a lot of noise, a lot of difference, and policies that will begin to look at us, begin to listen to policies that affect us. So I'm going to again appeal to everybody, please join the African Diaspora for Good Governance. Amen. The website again is adgg.org. It will be up in about a week. You're going to have it, and then and we have state chapters, so you can plug into your state. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Deputy Mayor. I think on this line, before we go, if any of you have questions for Ms. Sarah Malaika from the Census Bureau, she is available to answer any question that you may have. And I'm sure that if she's not in a position to answer that question, she will definitely get back to you. She will exchange email with you and what have you. So while we're thinking about getting our questions together for her, we can also acknowledge our good brother, friend, and community leader, Dr. Nelson Aluya. I'm not sure if he's still on this call. I'm saying it's on the call. So if he has, of course, you have laid it out on your video, advocating that we should be involved. So our dear brother, Dr. Nelson Aluya, it's there. Can you please just tell us something in regards to this census, please? Thank you. And thank you for taking the time out to be here. I know you're still at work, but God bless you. This is what you do and what you do best.
Yes, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
We can.
You can hear me, right? So I just about to leave work. I'm in the car now. but I'm in a parking lot. So it's been said. I mean, thank you for, Prince, for setting this up and for making it so important that this goes out to the community. Um, Never has it been like this in the African community, where there's a huge outpour of commitment, dedication and passion to see that collectively the African in diaspora in the US move forward to the next level. I mean, each and every one of you on this platform is doing exceedingly an amazing job to do this. And I must say, God bless you all, most tremendously. And for the lady who presented, it was fantastic. It was amazing. I had read about the census. I knew so much more from what you had said today than even what I read in the past. And giving a particular example for the Bengali community, it goes to show a long way that people do pay attention to statistics, numbers. And one of the biggest issues that we have always had, it's not just an African thing, it's a black man thing. And I always say this, some of you have heard me say that. We do not keep records. We do not keep records. And it's about time, that we begin to change that narrative. And I think, Dr. Prince, Mayor Ugo, Professor Kalfani, Dr. Chirambari Ko, and a whole lot more of others are going to build that platform today. The building blocks are setting up today, so that, and once it's built and it's built on a solid, sound foundation, and that's what you're all doing right now, that eventually down the road, it'll make a difference. And people can begin to build on top, upon others will stand, and other great giants will stand in the future. So to the community, please come out, get counted. And I think in strategy, we may have to, find ways to directly, for those who are in the clergy, Reverend Dr. Prince, you're there, reach out to the, clergy. Probably what we could do is get the list of all the people who are in clergy in the African community, mosque and, churches. Maybe get a flyer out or send something to the pastors so that when they preach, they can say this. It's important as well. It creates a whole lot of difference. And then to the young community, what we call the Parakwa, community, the traditional community, the leaders, reach out to them as well. We have the CCND, which is the collaborative coalition of the Nigerians in the diaspora. Is just a platform where we share information out to all the people in the community. It's another way of doing this as well, so that we get to understand the importance of this. She had outlined it, and probably we'll do a small a list or rundown of why it's important. I love the way she said it. It's easy, it's safe, and it's important. Taken in that manner, and then break it down, and then give an example with the Bengali community, and we just share it all out there to the community so that we know. It's important we get counted. For those of us who know now, we should do better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ahun, Dr. Aluya. Thank you for taking that time out to be with us today, Dr. Professor Kalfani. Thank you, our Honorable DP, Deputy Mayor Gochukwu Wokoro. Thank you so much. You guys are phenomenal. So our own host tonight, Ms. Sarah Malaika, is still available to take any question that you may have. If I tell you one thing, the thing that is ringing in my head right now is for those people who are thinking there is nothing to do and they are in a position to do it because they have a work authorization, or even they're green card holder, they're a citizen, but there's nothing that they're doing paying off right now. I think just to go door to door and knock on someone to take their name and information for $20-something an hour, hey, I don't think you can go wrong. So it's another way of you. Even, let me ask this question hypothetically. I don't know, but I'm going to direct this question to you, Ms. Sarah Malaika. Say, for instance, my community, the Nigerian community, somebody comes out from my community and apply for the job, and she gets a job with the US Census Bureau. can she be assigned to a community, to work in a community? Because that's the only way we can get a fair count. Because if she's their own, she speaks their language, she looks like them, they'll be able to give accurate count. What do you think about that? Is that doable? My question is, can she be working for the census and at the same time work within a community?
Yes, so we encourage everyone to apply. The way that it works is that you work in your census tract. And so that's why when you apply, we ask for your zip code and your address. Okay. So we make sure that everyone who's working for the census are working in their own community. We're not going to send somebody from New Jersey to work in Delaware. We're not going to send someone from New York to work in New Jersey. You work in your own area. And what that means is that your neighbors are helping to get the census for their own neighborhood. We know our neighborhood best, right?
Yes.
We know our neighbors, we know the area. We usually people in that area, maybe they speak a similar language. So we make sure at the Census Bureau that we're hiring at the super local level, and that means by census tract. So, and also if you speak a different language, please put that on the application. There's a section, it'll say which languages do you speak. Please fill that out because that bumps up your application. If you speak 2 or 3 other languages and we need that language for your census tract, then you are more flexible as an employee. You can speak to more people. So that really helps your application. If you speak different languages, please mark every language that you speak on the application form. Yep.
Thank you so much for answering that question. I think it says it all. So it's an opportunity for my people, it's an opportunity for our community to get involved and be part of this. Most importantly, so that we can get what we desire, so that we can get what we have been working for. We have been working so hard and we have been contributing to our community, but we are not getting our fair share of the resources allocated to the community from the federal government, simply because our numbers is not adding up. Once our numbers start adding up, like the Bengali community, I think we'll be more recognized, and I think we can move mountain. So this is great. If there is no further question for our host tonight, Ms. Sarah Malaika from the Census Bureau, I will now say we're a few minutes past the scheduled hour. And if there's any further question regard to this, you can go to Ms. Sarah Malaika. Can you tell them the website for the U.S. Census that they can go to get information? Or
sure.
If you want to share?
Yeah, so the website is 2020census.gov. And if you'd like to apply for the job, the website is 2020census.gov/jobs. Okay. So it's very easy. I encourage everyone to go to that website and check it out. We have so much information. And lastly, I just want to say, you know, I know that a lot of people in our community work very hard. They pay their taxes, right? They get money taken out of their paychecks. Mm-hmm. Let's use the census as a way to advocate for our community. So, you know, we pay taxes, we should get that money back to ourselves in the form of social services, in the form of hospitals, schools. So let's everyone make sure that your family, your neighbors, your friends fill out the census because everybody counts.
Good. Thank you so much, Ms. Sarah Malaika. We hear it all. Obviously, like Honorable Ugochukwu mentioned, we've heard from the hardworking community leaders. They have put it out there. They supported this. There is no immigration consequences for being counted during the census. So given your information, there is no consequences. As a matter of fact, the Constitution of the United States prohibits the Census Bureau, to the best of my knowledge, you can correct me, they prohibit the Census Bureau from sharing information with the Department of Homeland Security. Am I correct, Ms. Sarah Malaika?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay.
We cannot share with any other government agency. It's purely confidential.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So there's no threat for being counted as part of the census. It's your civil or civic responsibility, just like your voting right. It's your civic responsibility. So help the African community to get what we deserve. Help the African community to position our people in governance. And the only way you can do that is only when your numbers add up. When your numbers add up, they will listen to you. If you have the numbers and it's not presented, nobody's listening to you. We are just walking and not recognized and not respected. But when the numbers shows up, then we become more visible. I think it's our responsibility. I thank everyone that is on this call tonight. Thank you for taking the time out. I know it's a Friday evening. It's a working hour when we call for this. And a lot of people couldn't get off work to join us, but we really appreciate this. And for the leaders that were on this call, we know they will take that to their community and help build the community, inform the community about this so that we can push further. And I do understand that from today till I believe Sunday evening is the census drive weekend. So we have to push the census, post it on your social media page, tweet it, Instagram it, and do what you have to do with it with hashtag 2020 census. Am I correct, Ms. Sarah Malika?
Yes. Also, you can also add hashtag Africans count.
That's it. Hashtag African count, hashtag Nigerian count, Ghana count, Kenya count, Sierra Leone count, all the 54 beautiful countries in Africa count. Let's represent ourselves. It's for our own interest, but no other. Let's think about our future. Let's think about our children that are born here, that are living here. Let's make way for them. Let's lead by example. We're African. That's how we are taught, to lead by example. Thank you everyone for being on this call. We really appreciate you. Good respect and good job to my staff, my assistant, Ms. Serena Rowe. Thank you for good job. Thank you for putting this together. And for everyone that joined us on this line tonight, Ms. Yemi all the way from California, Dr. Aluya, Excellency Ericana, though she wasn't on the phone physically, but she did send a recorded message, which was very powerful. And our Honorable Mayor Ugochukwu Wokoro, we love you. We appreciate you. Keep up the good work that you're doing to unite Africa. And our dear brother Anthony Ace in New York, everybody. These are great leaders that were on this platform tonight. We're very, very appreciative of you and we love you. Keep up the good work. And we will look forward to connecting with you again. This tonight, 2020 Census Awareness is brought to you by African400.org. It's a hub that unites Africa to move Africa forward and is working in collaboration with the new African movement that is being headed by the Deputy Mayor Ugochukwu Wokoro and also Our Excellency Dr. Arikana Chiyombori, Dr. Nelson Aluya. All these powerful leaders are looking forward to greater things in the African community. So Ms. Serena Rowe, can you please unmute everyone? And if anyone has a question, if everyone wants to say something, the floor is open before we bring this to an end. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
If anybody has anything to say?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Your Excellency, Your Highness.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Honorable Ugochukwu Wokoro. Yes, if anybody has anything to say before we let Ms. Sarah Malika go, she's been with us very well, and we appreciate it.
Reverend, I have something to say.
Yes, sir.
Anthony, okay. In terms of the COVID, right? Now that people cannot really walk out and knock people's door, is there a way, like if somebody wants to apply for the census job, where they'll have a system like the telemetry? Now it's more VVC that people communicate through phone. Somebody who have like maybe followers, can they apply for the job in the community so that they would do a tele or reaching out to people on the phone? Can they apply for the job?
Yes,
I'll leave the question to Ms. Sarah Malika to answer your question, sir. Mr. Anthony Essen, thank you.
Yes. So the only way to apply for the job is online. We don't need a resume. You don't need to go anywhere for an interview. You can do it from the safety of your home. You just go to the website and everything is online. So you can apply and while social distancing. Mm-hmm. In terms of the jobs, we're following the federal, state, and local guidelines and the health authorities. So we're not going to resume our field operations until it's safe to do so. Right now our offices are closed and we're working from home. So we're not going to send out Census Bureau employees until it's safe to do so.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Right. But would there be a system because right now we don't know when it's going to be safe for people to go out, especially like in our community. Would it be safe of a system where it can be a tele? Because we want, the more people we can get, right, the better is for the community. And now people with social media, let's say somebody wants social media followers, can the census employ that person knowing that the person has a lot of followers that he or she can reach out to?
Well, right now we're only hiring for our field operations.
Okay.
Because, you know, we've been working on the census for many years now. They started in, you know, I started in 2018. So we have already hired people for the social media team. So
Okay.
right now we're only hiring for our field positions. That means to conduct the actual census.
Okay.
But I will mention that if you are looking for any jobs with the federal government, you can go to the website usajobs.gov, and that's for any federal government position that's in any department. So that's Census Bureau positions, but also any other positions for Department of Agriculture, Department of Education. They have all the federal government jobs are on usajobs.gov. But for census jobs specifically, you have to go to 2020census.gov/jobs, and that's specifically for working on the 2020 census field operations.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Any questions before we bring this to a close? Tonight's event is brought to you by African 400 in collaboration with US Census 2020, represented by Ms. Sarah Malaika, to give us information about the importance of 2020 census. This is something that happens every decade. It doesn't happen every year or every 4 years like the presidency. It happens every 10 years. And that means if we cannot get adequate hospital in our community, we have to wait another 10 years if we have the numbers. So, and if we miss that chance again, we have to wait another one. So it's like, may we not labor in vain. We work so hard in this community and we do a lot in this community. We should reap the fruits of our labor. And one of the things that is missing from that is not being visible. We have to be visible. Our numbers has to, you know, match our contribution to the community. Our contribution is in numbers. Our number is not visible, because I don't know how Bengali could surpass Africa in this country. I mean, there's no offense, no nothing, but I think there's more of us than more of Bengalis. I have a lot of them as friends in Patterson, in New York. They're great people. I love them. I do things with them. I'm still gonna see some of them very soon. We still talk all the time. They're wonderful people, but I'm surprised because I don't see a lot of them as much as I see a lot of Africans. So I don't know what's going on there. So we need to get up our behind and
must be counted
for our community, right?
Pleasant good night. I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of on the line. Truthfully valuable information. Truly, we have all charged to go out to our communities and get our numbers up, so everyone is counted and everyone matters and everyone counts. And this is Cheryl DB, Jersey City Caribbean Carnival.
Oh, thank you, our Honorable Ambassador Cheryl DB Murphy. I didn't know you were there, but great to hear from you.
I am here always.
That's one wonderful woman that have thousands and thousands of people in that festival every year. And I know she can reach tons of people. Thank you for being with us this evening. You are such a wonderful person in the community and you're such a hero. You're such a mentor. And congratulations to Jersey City Carnival, turning 25 years this year.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, turning 25 years and you are still isolated. But I'll tell you this, we are isolated, but we're not inhalated. Okay, exactly. So we just have to thank God for that we're still alive, and we will definitely live to celebrate. Happy 25th anniversary, Jersey City Carnival. Ms. Sherry D.B. Murphy, thank you for being on this.
Thank you, and I'll always be a part of 400years.org. That's my family. Thank you so
much. Thank you so much. We love you, Ms. Sherry Davis. So you have the last word, Ms. Sarah Malaika, and thank you for being here today. The platform is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Prince Adekoya, for inviting me to speak today, to share this very important information. You know, we have a beautiful community.
Yes.
We have a diverse community from different countries, speaking different languages, but we're all here together, and we have to stand up and be counted. We should be proud to be here, to be a part of our neighborhoods, to be a part of our community. And so we have to stand up and we have to count our children, because remember, this is our only chance this decade to get that right number. So we have to stand up and count ourselves.
Good. Thank you so much. You guys heard it all. Thank you. Stay safe, stay isolated, stay at home, wear your gloves, wear your mask, wash your hand, eat well, do some exercise. Above all, remain in fervent prayer and love one another. We all need that. Thank you, everybody, and God bless you, and have a pleasant night at your home and enjoy your family. Thank you so much. To my assistant, to my executive assistant, Ms. Serena Rowe, wonderful. I really appreciate you. What a wonderful woman. I am blessed to have you. Thank you so much for this. And Ms. Sarah, you have a wonderful night, and we stay in touch.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Essia.
All right.
Yes, Ambassador. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night. God bless.
Amen.